I believe that it took them about a year to go from their first base camp down to Nahom. The reason is because that's when Nephi mentions the birth of the first children. As I read the text of the Book of Mormon, I suspect that Ishmael was already ill, or had been experiencing ill health, that was one of the reasons why the family stopped from time to time to rest, to gather themselves, gather their strength, and then move on.
During the frankincense trade journey, I suppose that quite a number of people will die, because it was a hard journey, definitely. It wasn't an easy journey. And when they die, they will carry it to the nearest place possible.
Ishmael makes it this far south, but Ishmael finally passes away.
In Yemen, like in many ancient civilizations, they used to respect the dead very much.
They'd have buried Ishmael here to great mourning. One of the reasons the people felt to mourn is because he was an Israelite, and to be buried away from his home was something of a loss.
The areas to bury were known along the frankincense route.
I am sitting in Nahom burial ground that was discovered in 1994. The people who passed through this area and died, they will bring to this burial and buried here, whether they were Yemenis or foreigners from the north, from Mediterranean, and from someplace else.
They are like small hives or small graves, mounds.
And this area, where is the burial ground, is belong to the tribe of Nahom.
It's certain that this place had a name before they arrived, because Nephi very carefully writes the passive, the place which was called Nahom.
This is the area of Nahom. This is the land of Nahom, and also the area of the tribe of Nahom.
The spelling in 1 Nephi 16 is Nahom or Nahom, which has something to do with comfort. In ancient South Arabian, the letters NHM have to do with stone cutting and may possibly refer to the kind of work that the people of this tribe did.
The name is supposed to be coming from the root Nahama. And Nahama in ancient South Arabian language means to cut stone.
We have to imagine what happened when Lehi and Sarai and their party heard this name after the death of Ishmael, that it meant something to them, and they preserved it in the text.
The Yemenis have excavated a number of cemeteries in that region, including some that contained mummified remains.
The mummies that we found here in Yemen were buried differently from the ones in Egypt. The knees are not straight like the Egyptian, and also they covered all the body inside very nice leathers.
The finding of Nahom strikes me as just a tremendously significant discovery.
The gazetteers of Joseph Smith's day listed no such place.
What it really is a kind of prediction by the Book of Mormon of something that we ought to find.
Now, the chances of finding that exact name from that exact time in that exact place by random chance are just astronomical.
And to find it in the right location at the right time is a really striking bullseye for the book. And there are those who say that the book has no archaeological substantiation. That's a spectacular substantiation right there, it seems to me. Something that would have been unexpected, that it's so unlikely that Joseph Smith could have woven into his story on his own.
The Book of Mormon has made a complex prediction, and modern archaeology actually confirms that prediction.
It's a direct bullseye, as precise as you could wish it to be.
There are inscriptions from the Temple Baran at Marib that date to the 6th century BC that talk about individuals from Nahom. So the region was known at the time of Lehi and was called that at that period of time.
The temples that were uncovered there are actually from Lehi's own time frame.
But then to find the altars with references to Nahom on them, dating from 600 BC, was just spectacular.
Certain ruins or remnants of that temple were uncovered, including 3 altars, all of which carried this inscription, Nahom.
You couldn't have asked for a neater proof that the name was there in the right place at the right time, when it was supposed to be there for Lehi's group passing through.
The witnesses tell us that Joseph didn't even know that the city of Jerusalem had walls around it. Well, if he didn't know that there was a wall around Jerusalem, he certainly didn't know that there was a city or a site out in Yemen called Nahom.
The idea that Joseph Smith, for example, was really well versed on pre-Islamic Arabian geography or customs in the desert seems to me so ludicrous as to simply be beyond belief.
One has to ask the question, how could Joseph Smith possibly have known Nahom?
When the Lord asks you to do something, He doesn't give you the whole timetable and the whole plan and the map and the itinerary, and it's just one step at a time.
When the daughters of Ishmael mourned the death of their father and buried him at Nahom, it was a strange land.
If you're disposed to be doubtful, dubious, cynical about this sort of thing, and now you're out there and you're actually paying a price, it's not merely uncomfortable, but people are dying.
With the death of Ishmael, there would also be a choice in coping, just like with any of the events. They could have coped by murmuring and the divisiveness, and then the, shall we plot to kill somebody and have our way? Or there could be, I'll go to the Lord with my sorrow, which is the other way. But everybody has a choice, and they made different choices with it.
And they're asked now to walk away. It makes me want to cry from their father's grave.
Sometimes we need to look at it, if we can, from the standpoint of Laman and Lemuel and the children of Ishmael and so on. It's very easy, sitting comfortably as we do, to say, well, they shouldn't have murmured. They should have understood. But how would we feel being taken away from our comfortable home, led out into the middle of nowhere by a visionary, and we find ourselves starting to pay this really high price for it?
So they mourned, and it would have been a very difficult time for them. And then to leave, to go away from that place, never to return again, would have been very difficult, because they were tied by their religious practice to the graves of their ancestors.